Coming up on this week's show, EA and Marvel announce a new partnership starting with a single-player Iron Man game. Everyone's favourite pirate Guybrush Threepwood returns. Nvidia loves you 4000. And we get our first look at HBO's The Last of Us. How are we, guys? It's another week. We're on episode 79 of the Weekend Catch-Up Club podcast. A lot of news to cover today. It's been we got a heck of a show. If I can actually find my show notes, oh my goodness, I'm such an amateur when it comes to this kind of stuff all the time. Anyway, what you guys been doing? What have you been playing? Fill in the audience as to what you guys have been up to. Sarah, come on. You've bound to have been playing tons of stuff.
Oh, what have I been playing? I've been playing more of the Wulong Fallen Dynasty because that's been super fun, and I'm definitely going to have to pick that up. I'm so excited for that. Probably going to get Neo because I haven't played that, so that's probably going to fill in the time in between. What was I playing the other day? Oh, I'm probably going to start another playthrough of God of War in anticipation of Ragnarok, but I don't know where I'll find the time, to be honest. But I'm gonna make it. I won't sleep. I'll get some Monster energy drinks.
Like Jamie, Jamie needs to be sponsored. I thought you were on the other one, Jamie, not the monster one. What's that little rabbit one? What's that one called? Sneak.
Yeah. Okay. So not sponsored, but Sneak Energy is the best thing in the world, and everyone should buy it. But not sponsored, sadly.
Yet.
But no, I've run out of Sneak, and I need to put in an order. But it's not cheap. It actually works out a lot more cost effective. And again, not sponsored, but it's dropping the 60-70 quid that you need to stock up for the coming months. That's a bit.
We need to make it so crystal clear and emphasize the not sponsored for Sneak. So maybe they'll get the hint. If they're listening to us, you can sponsor the show. We'll do a little ad call out if you want to, help the show going and keep Jamie awake because he needs his sleep and he's an insomniac, but he doesn't need his sleep at the same time. It's weird. It's a whole situation, but he loves his Sneak.
I'll do unreasonable things for energy drinks. So, and I've been awake at this point for, I think I'm tapping 30 hours roughly now. So, yeah, I don't sleep.
Good lord. Have you guys been playing any new games? Jamie, you been playing any new games? Sarah's obviously been into Wulong. What have you been up to? What have you been playing? What have you been dabbling in?
I have been, so I'm still playing Valorant, and I finally hit Silver 2, which has just about killed me. But
Silver 2 good? Is that like a good rank?
It's all right. I was hard locked in bronze for a long time through a mix of my own inconsistent gameplay and some, shall we say, dubious teammates. It's one of those games. It's unfortunately got the player base for Valorant is unfortunately there's a lot of toxicity in it. Which includes a lot of people who, they have 2 rounds, they're not getting carried to a win, and then they just abandon the game and sit at the back and troll, which is very frustrating.
Yeah.
But luckily, that was actually my 2 games to rank up to Silver 2. The 2 games I needed, both of them, we had one guy who refused to play, but the rest of the team was super wholesome and really enthusiastic. And we were like, come on, guys, we don't need him. We can win this. And we did. I was like, yes.
Aww.
So, and then we all reported the guy who abandoned us, and I hope he got banned. So that was great. And then
savage, yes,
yeah. So, but in between, I've played some of the Phasmophobia update, which is good.
I love that game.
Oh, I have played. I'm currently, I think I'm level 1200 and something in it because I've played many hours, more hours than I should have done, and. Yeah, the update's really good. The new lobby is super fun. The new asylum is brilliant. There's a really creepy chapel room in it, which I was so thrilled about. And weird voices. And we were walking around and you can hear something being dragged along behind one of the walls. We're like, what the fuck is going on here?
That's so creepy.
Yeah, it was great. They still haven't. The next update, the Horror 2.0 update, is going to be the big one because that's going to update the gameplay loop somewhat. It's going to be actually refresh things more, but visually, they've done a lot, and with the maps, and they've made some nice tweaks to the gameplay. Couple slightly odd systems. There was a lot of swearing in the lobby because their ready up system is kind of broken. So if you make any change to anything, everyone unreadies, which is great when someone goes, well, I'm ready up and I'm just going to go and make a coffee. And then you sat there going, well, we can't do it. We'll just wait for him to get back now because we put an extra torch in the van. So frustrating. But the other thing I've been playing is Disney Dreamlight Valley. And that's actually what I was doing last night instead of sleeping. I hadn't played it before last night. I started it at 11 o'clock, and then I put it down at 7 o'clock this morning to go and get Monster from the shop because it's just the best thing I've ever played.
It looks amazing. It's like we talked about this on a couple of episodes ago. It's like Animal Crossing, but for like Disney-fied, and it just looks so good. So, okay, Jamie, it's on Game Pass, and I was thinking about doing maybe like an ongoing little kind of Game Pass segment, just like week to week kind of thing. It could be quite fun. Little finds, little gems that we wouldn't normally get to maybe play. And maybe we will do that. But yeah, Dreamlight came out on Game Pass, which is pretty cool, actually. And okay, tell us all about it, man. I've got to know.
Oh, yeah. So obviously, I've put thousands of hours into games like Stardew. I haven't played Animal Crossing yet because that was Switch. But both my kids are heavily into it, and I've watched a lot of Animal Crossing. But Stardew Valley, any sort of like farm management sim, Farm Together, all those sort of things I've played excessively. So this gives you all of that with a very sort of Sims-esque feel to the building and placing of stuff, which is really nice. It's beautiful to look at, and it's just very relaxed and very comforting. There's no real time crush. The game syncs to real time, so the day and night follows your day and night, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But all the stuff that drops for foraging, like there's no cutting down trees, there's no managing. You can plant crops, but with the exception of that, everything else is just naturally harvested and things like that. But it refreshes incredibly quick. The crops grow very fast. So there's none of that thing like, well, I need another 10 carrots, but that's going to take me 8 hours to get. So what do I do in the meantime? It's just you just plant them, walk away, come back, they're there, you're ready to go. And then you get individual realms for different characters and franchises to unlock villagers and bring them back to your village. So I went to Remy's kitchen from Ratatouille and helped him cook, and now he lives in my village, and I have a restaurant there.
So good.
And then I went to Moana's island and got Moana and Maui. And now Maui won't leave the restaurant. He just sits at a table constantly demanding food. So, which is great. I need him to help me shift some rather large, heavy things. And he's like, yeah, but grilled fish. So I'm cooking constantly. And it's fantastic. Yeah. It's just so much fun. And yeah, it's worth buying, let alone, grab it on Game Pass. Yeah. But it is on Game Pass. So.
It sounds just like Disney perfection. Like all of the characters, you get to kind of create your little avatar, hang out with them. And I'm expecting it to be huge. If it's not already, I think like the draw for kids alone, let alone like the big kids like us who grew up with all of the classic, animated Disney like Aladdin and The Lion King and Little Mermaid, and if you go back even further, like Snow White and things like that, Bambi and everything, and the fact that question: is Bambi's mum alive in Disney's Dreamlight? Can we?
I don't know.
The audience needs to know. There's serious questions here.
I haven't seen any sign of Bambi yet, although the rabbits that run around, because there's critters in the area that you can feed and things like that, and the rabbits that run around do look a lot like Thumper. The squirrels, the squirrel broke my heart. So you see this in the trailer. So without spoilers, your introduction to the world of what's going on, because essentially you're in this valley, there's been this curse, and you're having to unlock it and bring the villagers back. That's the storyline. Mm-hmm. And your guide in this is Merlin from Sword in the Stone.
Oh, cute. Love that.
Love it.
Which one of my favourite Disney films of all time.
Yeah.
And there's just so many little Disney references in there. So at one point, I was just having a line of dialogue with him where I had to. He was teaching me about magic, and you get to pick what magic words you're going to use to unlock this little area. So I chose Hicatus Figatus from Sword in the Stone. And when you do it, he looks at you and goes, I'll take that as a compliment. And I'm like, oh! And it just... But my heart shattered because one of the scrolls came up to me and I fed it and I realised it's the lady scroll from Sword in the Stone, and that scene when I was a kid made me cry like a baby.
Oh.
And when I say when I was a kid, I mean like 28. And I was like, oh, she loves him so much. Why did you turn back into a boy, you big jerk? So yeah, there's so much in there for Disney, for long-term Disney fans, and new Disney fans, because it's got Pixar stuff in there as well. It's everything, and a hell of a lot of thought and heart has gone into it. It's one of those games that would have quite easily been, we're going to make some money off the fact that we Disney own everything. And they could have made it a simple farm management type game with Disney characters just happening to be in it and still made a fun game that would have made a lot of cash. Mm-hmm. But this is just, it's a love letter to fans of the franchises. It's beautiful. And the best feature, which is going to steal every hour of my life, is the customization. So the character customization at the start, there's quite a bit you can do to make yourself fairly individual, and they've got some nice. And I'm really sorry, I cannot remember. Is it vitiligo? They've got character. You can have characters with vitiligo, and you can have various visual things. There's no. You pick a body type, but there's no real gender assignment.
Okay, that's cool.
Very
that's
open.
really good.
It's very cool. So that's good, but the customization comes into its own when you can customize the clothing, but you build it. Do you remember back in the days of Black Ops where you could build up your logo in layers and really customize it and make something, and every other person had a penis, but it was all you saw in the lobbies was just crudely drawn, genitalia. But you can basically you can layer shapes. And but they've also got like character designs, and you unlock more as you go through. So I've made a hoodie which has got a little Wally logo on it, but it's got stars and things around it, and it's got hidden Mickeys on the sleeves, and you can create clothing from the ground up. It's awesome. So yeah, that's my life now. You're lucky I'm here because.
Well, we could always all jump into Disney's Dreamlight as our avatars and record the podcast like we're in the Dream World or the Disney World, the Disneyverse,
You shamed me by offering me my greatest wish.
This little talking avatars, and Snoopy Pluto just like bounds across the screen mid show. We're trying to do a broadcast here, dog. Jesus, that kind of thing.
Oh, it's
pet.
I know. So I've been playing a few games this week. A couple on Game Pass, which we'll get into in a little bit. But one that I am just completely in love with right now is I've started streaming it. Is Psychonauts 2, which I hadn't played yet. I'm aware of the series, big fan of the series, but I never played it at launch, which came out last year. And my God, this game is exceptionally good. It's so good. It's on Game Pass as well because Double Fine Studios are now obviously first-party Xbox studio, so you can check it out for that little sub. But the creativity in this game is just off the charts good. Because it's all about, a Psychonaut is like an agent of like the people's thoughts and manipulating people's thoughts or trying to cure mental illness or things like that. It is such a strong message for all of the different types of, I guess, like language around mental health, to put it blunt, but they also have fun with it without being like too serious or too like sledgehammer, serious about it, and it works. They get that balance so right. And one of the fun little collectibles are these luggage cases, and they're unhappy because they've lost their tag, and you have to then find the tag and return it to the case, and is positioned as emotional baggage. which is just brilliant.
I like
so
it.
they have so much fun with the different enemies and their names and the terminology for like mental health issues. And one of the enemy types was it will smash you all the time, like a Hulk smash, and it's something along the lines like this will bring you down or something like that. It's it's all about that kind of framing of language that works so brilliantly and deftly in game mechanics. And it's got an amazing art style. It's almost got this weird kind of, it's not claymation, but it's like little models, but very, very fluidly animated. So not like stop motion or anything, but it's got this kind of like physical, real world material kind of look to it that looks like plasticine or models or something. And my God, it's like so full of color and it's so fun. And there's a great level, which is a casino, but you're inside the person's mind. I'm not going to go too much into spoilers or anything like that, but this one is early on. And this person is, I think she used to work in the hospital, and now we're inside her mind, and therefore the level inside her mind is this casino. And it's all about the message of that the healthcare system is like costing you so much money kind of thing. It's like gambling and it's things like that that are just so cleverly orchestrated and set up without actually saying, healthcare should be free, this kind of thing, without actually blatantly and bluntly kind of saying it, and then you've lost the audience by explaining it too much. But they've let the level design do the explaining for them, and it is so wonderful.
Yeah, sounds super cool.
It really is.
I remember playing the first one briefly at one point, but I like the sound of that. 'Cause I'm a great believer that there's humor to be found in anything, depending on how you wield it. There's some things that are not funny to laugh at, but to laugh along with can be, quite useful and helpful and stuff. So I think if you can walk that tightrope well enough, then that sounds like something I might have to pick up. Is that on Games Pass?
It is, yeah. It's on. I mean, the amount of stuff that's on Game Pass, it's just insane. And this is beginning to sound like a Game Pass sponsored show. But hey, I'm open to that Xbox if you want to throw some money our way.
I'll show
it to any and all sponsorship.
Exactly. Well, I will sell my soul for a case of Monster or Sneak or a free Game Pass for the year. Anyway, today's topics of the show, again, is a complete banger. We got a little bit off track there, but it was also very, very, very kind of valuable gameplay chat. We have the first trailer of HBO's The Last of Us finally dropped. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about cloud gaming with Logitech as they unveiled their new Logitech G Cloud, I think it's called, the new handheld gaming device. We've got a little bit of news about EA is back in the single player game with an Iron Man game. They've got a partnership with Marvel Games. Nvidia tells PC gamers that they love you 4000 with their new 4000 series or 4000 series of graphics cards. Jamie is already crying and wincing at the cost of them. And Guybrush Threepwood makes a triumphant return with Return to Monkey Island, the new game, which has just launched on Steam and on Switch. I'm sure we'll be coming to other platforms at some point, but at the moment, it's like a console exclusive for Switch. So guys, let's start with The Last of Us HBO show. Pedro Pascal is our Joel. Sarah, you're a big Last of Us fan like myself. What did you think when you saw this trailer?
I am ridiculously excited for this. Like, I love the franchise of The Last of Us, and it looks beautiful. It looks like this amazing, life-size realization of the game. I think actually Pedro Pascal is great casting. I have completely forgotten the name of who's playing. What is her? She's in Game of Thrones. I've completely forgotten her name.
Yeah.
Starts with B.
I've forgotten her name as well.
I think it's I can't remember. It starts with B. But she looks like Ashley Johnson, which is crazy. I'm like, it's interesting that they've kind of gone away from, how in the original game they kind of took the likeness of Elliot Page, and then they've now gone the other direction, and with the live action casting, it's more like Ashley Johnson, which is great. But there are like moments in that trailer where it looks exactly like the game, and that's very exciting because it feels like they are fully aware of where the source material has come from, where it's all come from. And obviously Neil Druckmann's involved, so there's no way that they wouldn't be doing a really nice representation of the game. So I'm so excited. I'm so excited. The only thing I'm worried about is like, how am I going to watch it? Because it's HBO, right? So Sky? Atlantic?
Possibly. And the actress is Bella Ramsey. I just had to Google it there really quickly. Yeah,
Bella Ramsey. Yeah.
Really, really good casting. And you're right. I was watching. I'm thinking, have they actually done it? Have they done a brilliant adaptation finally of a video game in this series format that is going to do justice to one of the most critically acclaimed games of the probably ever, right? If you go by reviews and Metacritics and stuff like that. And yeah, Pedro Pascal just looks to be a great kind of haggard, brutal Joel casting. I'm hugely excited to see what he can bring to that role. And all of the little scenes from that teaser trailer was aping key moments from obviously the first game, but it looked like they were also drawing from parts of the second game and obviously the parts of the DLC from the first game.
Yes.
You're getting to see a little bit of Riley on the carousel. And we got a tiny little like one frames like view of a clicker, like full blown clicker. And I'm thinking, oh my God, could this be a Walking Dead, but when Walking Dead was really good at its height, at its peak, like the first kind of the early seasons of Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And like it could, right? It absolutely could. The world is rich enough for that. They're obviously going to be wanting to expand on the Fireflies and Arlene's character. They're going to want to be expanding on to, I'm guessing, the other factions that come into the second game as well. They'll probably draw on that as well. So it could be really blown out in terms of the scope. But also at its core is the journey between Ellie and Joel and what it all means across the course of, maybe 10 episodes or something like that for the first season. I'm really, really excited. I don't have HBO or Sky or anything like that, but I'm going to have to try and
I will accept sponsorship from HBO and or Sky. It's honestly, it's going to be, I'm so excited. And I think what's really exciting is that anything that Neil Druckmann wanted to put into the game but couldn't, maybe because of only being able to tell a certain amount of the story, he won't be as restricted by that, which is super exciting. We'll get more in-depth backstory, hopefully. We'll get to learn more about characters that maybe we only encounter very briefly. So yes, I'm very excited, and I will figure out a way to see it. Who knows? Maybe I have a friend somewhere who has Sky, and I'll just be like, cool, coming around to your house.
Yeah. Every Sunday night is Last of Us night. You don't get a choice. We're just going to turn up with some pizza and we're just going to watch it.
It's happening.
Jamie, what did you think of the trailer?
It looks good. It means nothing to me because I've not played the games. Although it was recognizable, because I think when gaming is a huge part of your life, as it is with all of ours, you kind of absorb, even if it's games you're not playing, you absorb a lot of stuff by osmosis through people who play it, or and I've seen bits and pieces of The Last of Us. It's a game series I would very much like to play, but haven't because of the console. And but the trailer's recognizable as Last of Us from what I know of the game, and it looks like a really good TV show. It's about which is about all I could have asked for it personally. I just have 5 words that terrify me when it comes to any video game adaptation to the screen, and those 5 words are Super Mario Brothers the movie.
What are you talking about? It's a great film.
It is, but not because it's a great adaptation. It's a great train wreck.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've
it
ever
is.
read the stories about Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo saying that they basically worked the entire film drunk because they couldn't believe what they were doing. So,
Yeah.
I mean, those two are the most insane casting for those two characters anyway.
Yeah,
but
bizarre.
I love it. I'm obsessed. That is a great film. It's so
Yeah.
weird though.
It's one of my faves, but it's nothing to do with anything that is. So
But Bowser just looks like a crocodile or something. He doesn't have like the heft, like the size that he needs, let alone the shell on his back or anything like that.
Funny.
I mean,
it's
so
such
it's like a guy in a rubber suit, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they've never quite. I don't think I've ever seen anything that's nailed the game to. I mean, Doom was an interesting movie. Mortal Kombat, I enjoyed Mortal Kombat, the original Mortal Kombat, mostly for Christopher Walken's "Where the hell are you from?" voice.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful
Christopher Lambert. Christopher Walken is a different actor entirely.
Oh my God, Christopher Walken.
That would have been a very interesting take for Raiden had it been Christopher Walken.
Oh,
my goodness.
No,
I would watch the hell out of that. Yeah.
That's some fanfic casting. I'm so here for that.
You got to say, well, I can't do Christopher Walken, but everyone thinks they can do Christopher Walken. So
I know.
But, yeah, so I don't know. I'm always nervous about adaptation, but it looks like a really good show. And it's recognisable, so that's the. I mean, I'll give it a watch. I will also find someone who has HBO or Sky, and invade.
Somebody can host
home.
a watch party for us and send us the links, and we can all watch it.
Yeah, perfect. It does look really good.
It really, really does. I hope it does well, and I hope it manages to. That very difficult thing of meeting the expectations of the fan base, but also being appealing to like a new audience that just wants a really good drama that is maybe sick of the zombie genre as well, because it's how many zombie movies and TV shows and everything have we had? It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But can it bring something new? And it's also a different take on zombies with the clickers and the cordyceps virus and everything like that, which is interesting in itself to begin with. But then it's going to come down to like, okay, are these characters interesting? Am I going to care about these characters? And we all know that the characters are definitely worth caring about and following their journey. But can they do something which is satisfying for the two different audiences and not do a Halo on Paramount?
You said the word.
I said the trigger word for Jamie's trigger word.
I was having a good day, Ross. I was having a good day.
Quick, next topic before Jamie branches off into a tangent. Right, we are definitely going to do the next topic. So Logitech unveils a new handheld cloud gaming device. It is Android based. It comes with whatever Nvidia's gaming platform is, but a stroke of genius, I've got to admit, from Microsoft's partnership. It comes pre-installed with Xbox Game Pass for their cloud offering. I have thoughts about this device. I have thoughts about cloud gaming, but I'm going to pass the floor to my boy, Jamie, the king of the tangent. Off you go, sir. What do you think about this device? And I guess cloud gaming as a whole.
The cloud gaming notion's great. Do you remember Odd Live? I do. I always
long time ago.
Yeah, it's all infrastructure when it comes to stuff like cloud gaming. Like it only works as well as you're able to access it. Is the only thing. But I love the idea. I mean, little things. The way Games Pass cloud gaming works currently has been fantastic because I've been playing a game before and I've been sat there, this is really good. Oh, it's got 2-player. And one of the guys was like, really? No need to install it. Jump straight into it because they've got a decent internet connection. It's on their cloud gaming service. So it's a great idea. The device looks nice. The device looks nice. Have you seen? I don't know if you've noticed this. There's an awful lot of stuff floating about just before the actual official trailer launched of Logitech's new system. And it was all fake stuff that had been whipped up on, and some of the fake stuff looked better than what they released, which is really sad. Because it was all very sci-fi. Like it's basically you might as well unfold a hologram in your hands. I'm like, okay, and then they announced it was like, oh, okay, well, it looks cool. But no, it looks like a nice device. Pre-installed with Game Pass is genius because Game Pass is it needs it. I know Microsoft want it on every platform, and it should be at this point. It's such a great service. Not sponsored. But yeah, I think it's a good idea. I think if you can access all of those cloud gaming, you can take that device out of your house, you walk along, you can still jump in and play Halo if you want, or Gears, or whatever your mates are playing, or pick up your Disney Dreamlight Valley on the move and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it's a fantastic idea, and it looks like it could be a good bit of kit. I'll reserve final judgment until I see more of them, in the wild, and see what people are saying about them more, because I haven't seen a hell of a lot of chatter from anyone who's been hands-on with one. I don't know if there's much floated out there about that yet. So, but I like the
Sarah,
concept.
what do you think?
Yeah, I don't have much experience with cloud gaming. I know that I was going to try the GeForce Now at one point, which is the Nvidia one, and just ended up buying the game that I wanted in the end. But I know I have friends that have used it and say that it works really well. I thought it was interesting that in the little video that I watched, or that you sent us, that it mentions that it's also essentially a functioning Android tablet, which was quite cool, linked directly to Google Play. So you can customize the device to some extent, download apps and things like that. So it is obviously geared, like the focus is for gaming, but it is going to be a multifaceted item, which is good when you sort of compare it to something like a Steam Deck, which, as far as I'm aware, is primarily just for using Steam. Although I'm sure you can, if you really wanted to, like unlock your Steam Deck, I'm sure it's possible.
I'm sure it's been done already.
Someone somewhere is smart enough to do that. Yeah, so I guess it's quite nice that it's flexible. I think it's interesting that they're trying to put themselves out there to challenge portable gaming devices like the Switch, but I still think like the Switch is pretty incredible, even if you can't use it as an Android tablet.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be running out to buy one. I'm curious about the price point, but I'm guessing it might be similar to the Steam Deck, maybe somewhere around, is it like $450 or something? I think that the Steam Deck is.
Steam Deck's obviously come in a range of spec from, I think it's $450 up to like $550 for the more expansive hard drive space and the better screen and stuff like that. Yeah.
But I guess it's good. I'm not like, woo, I'm excited for this. I'm like, cool, that's nice. I'm sure that works for someone in particular in terms of the setup that they want. But I don't play that many games on the go, as it were. Yeah, I want to hear what you think, Ross. You sounded like you have things to say.
I do have things to say about the Logitech and cloud gaming as a whole. So let's get the good parts out of the way first of all. Any new tech in the handheld gaming space, I'm all for. I love my Switch. I still have my Nintendo DS, which is still my all-time favorite handheld games platform. I still have my OG Game Boy up on my shelf, which I adore. I still play Tetris and the original Super Mario Land, which are two of my favorite ever games. Cloud gaming. Hold on, I'm getting battered. I'm getting battered by something. Oh, the people are washing my windows. I was wondering who was banging on the window there. Slight little. I was like, "What the heck is that?"
I've sent some people around.
Like, oh my goodness!
What are you going to say?
Yeah. What are you going to say? Yeah.
What are you going to say about cloud gaming, man?
The sensors are banging on my door. Anyway, so cloud gaming, I am not the biggest fan of. Again, similar to what Jamie said, conceptually, in theory, it's a great idea. But I don't know if the infrastructure is ever going to really get to where we kind of want it to be and expect it to be. I have very hit and miss experiences of cloud gaming. Sometimes I've managed to get it working. It's been pretty good, but then it never ever will compare to running something locally on native hardware. It just will never be able to compete like that. Having said that, when it does work, it's fantastic to just say, okay, there's a little cloud symbol next to a game, whether it's on Game Pass or whether it's on like Stadia, or the Switch has a whole bunch of cloud games now. You just basically click it, it launches, and you're up and running fairly quickly. It's not instant. I don't think it will ever be instant as what they try and pitch it as instant gaming. It's really not that. But when it works, it's cool. It's a cool concept, but it's still not there. And I was thinking about this device quite a bit in particular because, again, new tech, new gaming handhelds, a new PSP would be amazing. Imagine if Sony did a cloud service and a new handheld, which was like a Switch, and that would be amazing as well in itself. But then I was thinking, look, most people, the majority of people have, well, maybe I shouldn't say the majority of people, but a lot of people have mobile phones that they renew every couple of years, so they're extremely powerful, and you can get things like the Backbone device, like the Razer Kishi and some other ones, and you can get Game Pass Cloud on them already. You can get other services. You can, if it's an Android phone, you can obviously get the Android games already on it. So I was trying to think, like, what is the point of this device? Like, where is the market for it? Because it's a Wi-Fi only device, so you can't take it outdoors with you and start playing your cloud games. Whereas with your phone and one of those little attachments, you can use that. Obviously, it's going to crunch through your data, but if you've got an unlimited plan or something like that, it's not an issue. And then you can take it literally anywhere. And a Switch you can take anywhere because it's installed on the device directly. Same with the Steam Deck, they're installed directly. So I was thinking, okay, so I can, and even in their marketing of this Logitech thing, they even position it as, I can go into my bedroom, I can go into my living room, I can go into my garden. Not without a signal extender person, you can. You need a booster if you're going to do that. I can go into the kitchen while somebody's in the other room. Yeah, but you're in your own house. You're in a Wi-Fi signal. And if you're going to be trusting Wi-Fi connections outdoors in the shopping mall or in cafes and stuff, yeah, good luck with that. That's going to stutter and be a horrible experience. So I was trying to think, yeah, I mean, it's a really cool, nice looking device. I'm sure ergonomically it's really nice. It's a good size. It's got obviously a better screen than even the Switch. It's got a 1080 screen. I'm sure performance is pretty good. But you're really limited for where you can use it. And then you can, for £100 versus £300 or £400 for this device, you can buy a Backbone or you can buy a Razer Kishi and then just crank it on your phone. And if you're worried about zapping your phone battery, well, get a battery bank and that will you're not going to drain your battery and then be on your phone and then be completely stuck. And then you might probably get a better experience doing it on your phone. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not really feeling it. I'm like, yeah, it's cool. I like it conceptually. It looks like a really cool device, and I'm glad that there's more coming to market. But it's like, it's kind of limited. It's like, what is the point of it? Ultimately, what is the point of it?
Yeah, I hadn't realized it was Wi-Fi only, but it makes sense that it would be, because I think it would be basically impossible to try and use any cloud services stuff on mobile data. It wouldn't be, I don't imagine it would be fast enough. And is there any option, I don't suppose there's an HDMI port in order to, if you wanted to set it up at home on a big screen?
I don't know.
There was nothing mentioned in the video the launch video that they did.
Yeah, I think it's aiming at entirely like portable handheld gaming device. So I think when you start to like actually look into it, it's maybe just more kind of limited and thinking, I don't know if this is going to do very well. Whereas at least with like the Steam Deck, you've got like a dock device or something like that, and you can just boost it onto your big TV or any kind of other screen, any kind of monitor. And of course, it's pre-installed. It's accessing your Steam library. If you're fortunate enough to have an ample Steam library, like Jamie, who buys everything in the Steam sales, that's why he's
poor and tired.
I know. So yeah, it's an interesting one.
Do you think
it exists? I think the partnership between Microsoft is awesome. But yeah, I don't know how it's going to do.
It's that, I think it's that you get that with gadgets from time to time, but it's not that it's bad, it's that it's pointless. Not in a harsh way, but just
wow, Jamie, that was brutal.
That's a summary of what you said, Ross.
I've said this before. Yeah. With gaming, ultimately is pointless. Like hobbies, anything like that, it's pointless. I should slam in the quote marks for it. It's not, because it's good for your mental health. It gives you an outlet. It can be social, all that sort of thing. But it's not. But no, it's like it's maybe filling. It's trying to fill a gap rather than calling it pointless. It's trying to fill a gap that maybe wasn't there. It's trying to squeeze itself into a gap, like you said. Because if you can't, it's not as on the go as a Switch. It's not as much of a, because a Steam Deck can act as a sort of de facto PC for people who want to access the games. Like you say, if you can connect it to the telly and that, it's another way of accessing you in a more sort of console-esque sort of feel. Whereas this is, it's maybe not, it's not really filling a niche that people were saying, I want something that will do this, because I've already got things that will do this if I just, if I buy the add-on, I'll do that. But it's the notion of it. Like I said, the cloud gaming thing has worked brilliantly for me. I don't use it personally. I download everything. I'd rather run it. I mean, I built this damn thing. I might as well use all the hard drive space. So, but it's worked brilliant, like I said, in that notion of someone can just quickly jump on. And because most of the guys I know have got a decent connection speed and they're hardwired, they're not running off Wi-Fi, and it works in those instances. But as you said, sometimes it just doesn't. Like, if you've got, and I hadn't even thought about Wi-Fi. The concept of trying to run anything over Wi-Fi actually scares me, because all it takes is a slightly thicker wall in one room of your house and you're screwed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the use cases seem to be quite narrow for this, and I'm sure they're trying to tap into the mobile gaming market, which is still by far the largest revenue generating part of the sector. But it just seems a bit narrow, because if it's mobile gaming, but people are going to be wanting to use their mobile games, like get your software or your storefront on there, like what Microsoft have done. But I don't know. I don't want to be like completely down on it, but as Jamie said, you've just created a pointless device, a piece of hardware that is completely pointless.
Not well played, Logitech. There, we've trashed it. 0 out of 10. Don't buy it. No.
No sponsorship from Logitech for us.
I'm not doing that.
Damn it, Jamie. Damn it, I was hoping for sponsorship for Logitech. Have you seen their latest...
I love your keyboards. I have one here. It's fantastic.
Their latest microphones and their keyboards and their lighting is fantastic, and you just shit all over them.
That's it.
Yeah.
We're blackballed.
Yeah.
Pointless was definitely the wrong word. But I apologise to both Mr. Logi and Mr. Tech. I didn't mean to screw with your model so badly, but
So next topic. This might be a quick one actually, because there's so little news about it, and there's EA, Electronic Arts, the once big bad corporation, which was I think voted the worst corporation in America at one point, is back on the single player game track, and they have signed a deal with Marvel to, I guess, do a bunch of games, but the only one that has been announced and that we know about just yet is a single player Iron Man game. What? Can we potentially skew this, guys, as Anthem was a test bed for what Iron Man could be?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
You know?
Yeah.
Sarah, what do you think about this news?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm a big Marvel fan, so it's exciting in that sense. And I guess if this game is good, if it goes down really well, think of how many other games there could be. So many. Right. And also, like, I feel like, for me anyway, like, getting back or getting into the Marvel films in the first place all kind of sort of started with that Iron Man film that Robert Downey Jr. did. And I'm curious to see whether he's going to be involved, if he's going to do any of the voice acting, because that would be cool. But I guess it depends on if they can find someone who can do a really good impression of him, or if they're not, or if they're trying to move away from the version of him that's in the films. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm curious.
Yeah, it's interesting because of Marvel's Avengers has all of the the main characters in it. The wonderful Nolan North does Tony Stark in it.
Oh, he's so good.
And honestly, if it was a single player Iron Man game, I'd want him to be the Iron Man.
He is an absolute icon.
Sassy as hell, you know.
Yeah.
arrogant
sorry,
playboy.
Sorry, Robert Downey Jr. We want Nolan North. Yeah.
But then, like, you can't cast him in this because unless it's serving as like a prequel to the Avengers game, which doesn't really make much sense. But I guess maybe it could work. But is it totally separate from?
Yeah, could we multiverse it
Avengers?
and be like, it's fine?
You can get away with it. I mean, there are certain voice actors who, Travis Willingham voices Thor in multiple properties, none of which are linked, but he's just got the voice for it.
Yeah,
I think Nolan North has both the voice and the personality for like he can bring the personality through on Iron Man and Tony Stark, because you need, obviously, for an Iron Man game, you need the suit to look great, you need the gameplay to feel good, but you need Tony Stark to feel like a snarky, borderline alcoholic, slightly depressed, just misanthrope almost, but a good one. Like he's got those qualities. If he wasn't a good guy, he'd be an asshole. Which is one of my favourite things about Tony Stark. And Robert Downey Jr. walked that line in the films perfectly. Like he's kind of a jerk, but he's a jerk who's on our side, so we're okay with it. And I loved it. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I kind of forgot the EA made games, so it'll be interesting to see what they do with this.
It really will, because the one of the big things for me when I first started playing Marvel's Avengers, and this is no real fault at all of the developers behind that, but it came after God of War 2018 by Sony Santa Monica, and it came after Anthem, which was much earlier. I know it was ultimately doomed to failure, but Anthem was the Iron Man game that we wanted. Like the flying and the combat felt amazing. Yes, there was a lot of problems surrounding that, but the actual core mechanics of flying and killing your jets by going like diving down and going through a waterfall or going into water and blasting back up in the sky, that was amazing. And I mentioned God of War because Kratos throwing his axe and then recalling it is how throwing Mjolnir and recalling Mjolnir was meant to feel. And Thor and Avengers didn't feel like that. It just didn't quite feel as good as that. And I'm sort of thinking, it just doesn't, God of War did it better. And then when you get to control Iron Man and Avengers doesn't feel right. It just doesn't feel right because Anthem friggin' nailed the mechanics of flight and the combat and dropping down and boosting back up in the sky. And of course, what really didn't help Avengers is Iron Man is like capped for the height that he can fly up in the levels. There's like a invisible ceiling. And in Anthem, you're kind of unrestricted to a degree. Like you can go way high up. Same like in Marvel's Spider-Man by Insomniac, you can go like way up into the sky, whereas Iron Man's kind of like just like hovering everywhere. It's like maybe go like a couple hundred feet up above the ground, and it's like no, it doesn't feel right. So I'm excited for what they could do, whether it has anything to do with the learnings of Anthem or not. But I really hope it does pay attention to what Anthem did amazingly well in that core fight mechanics and the feel. And they do an amazingly well-crafted story, and they just put a ton of money into it to get that AAA feel, the animation, the mechanics, the effects work, and just everything into that wrapper that is as shiny as his Iron Man suit would be amazing.
It's the Marvel comics, well, comics in general, I think possibly more than any other thing, like comics and comic franchises, are perfect escapism. And I'm sure I've mentioned this before, but when I went to watch the original, like the first Spider-Man film with Tobey Maguire, I walked out of the cinema genuinely tearing up a little because I was like, because Spider-Man is my favourite superhero of all time, and I walked out, I'm like, I'm never going to be Spider-Man. That was perfect. I was actually emotional because it just made me feel good. And the game you have to feel like you're in that moment, otherwise it just isn't going to land. Like some of over the years, I mean, I remember playing. It was a fun game, but I remember playing Wolverine, the X-Men.
Yeah,
Wolverine
the Origins game, that was really good.
Yeah,
terrible movie, really good game.
Oh, dreadful movie. But you felt like a badass. You felt hard to put down. You felt it's always tricky when you've got a character like Wolverine or when you've got a character like Superman in a game, because they always want to introduce a way to be like, but we can kill you, right? It's like, no.
Yeah.
Find another way to stop me, because you can't. Yeah. You literally can't kill me, so you've got to do something else. So there's always, they need to work around it with mechanics. But yeah, I remember playing that, and I thought, God, this is. And then there was no more from them. There was no more Wolverine games, and no more. I wanted them to make a Deadpool game at the time, which never happened. Obviously, we got a Deadpool game further down the line, which was good fun. But even the Punisher game was brutal. Oh, yeah. Like, absolutely
that was on the
brutal.
OG Xbox and PS2, right?
Yeah, but it felt like Punisher.
Yeah.
So
definitely not PG rated. That game. That was not a family friendly, feel good game.
No, I think that was like into a table saw.
Yeah, it was like an ultra violent, like Sleeping Dogs. You know how they get the finishers in Sleeping Dogs, but obviously Punisher came way earlier. Like that was, I remember reading the reviews, and it was so, and they had to I think for printing stuff they had to like pixelate or censor the screenshots because it was in print, and the magazine and everything like that. It's like, these are too violent to actually. We're gonna get like the magazine's got official Xbox magazine is gonna be on the top shelf because of the violence of these pictures.
Yeah, in a lead sleeve, but
yeah.
If anything, they maybe pushed it too far with Punisher, to be fair. But you felt like you were the Punisher. You felt like you were out there righting wrongs the only way Frank Castle knows how, by killing everyone in the room. And that's what you want to embody those characters, and you want to feel like you're that character for a while. And like you said with Avengers, I never played Avengers. I was going to, and then I saw some of it, and I was just like, no, none of that looks right or feels right. It was pretty enough, but it didn't look like it was going to... When I was watching the Guardians of the Galaxy gameplay, I was like, I need to play this, because that's going to make me feel like I'm Star-Lord. I want to play that. And Spider-Man.
It's such a balance. Like, when the games nail it, like Spider-Man, like Rocksteady's Batman games, all of the Arkham games, like you said, Jamie, and it's such a cliche to say, it's like, this game will make you feel like Batman, but it's true. It's like, it feels great. It feels right. It feels like I'm mopping the floor with these bad guys and then calling in the Batmobile and all the gadgets, doing the investigative stuff. It's like, this is perfection. And this is how this character should be realized in the video game format. Same with Spider-Man. Very acrobatic, and like the sensation of swinging through the skyscrapers of New York is just, it nails it. Like, I don't think you can fast travel, and it's pretty funny that they do it. It takes the subway and stuff, but you never want to fast travel in Spider-Man because swinging is so much fun. And don't take that soundbite out of context. I'm talking about Spider-Man swinging, not anything else. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, okay. Next topic, we'll jump into. This is probably going to be Jamie's topic, actually. Actually, no, Jamie, you got two topics, but this one is specifically for the PC gamers out there, something I know nothing about. I'm just a filthy casual console gamer. It is Nvidia's brand new line of superconductor graphics cards, which is just wild. It's their 4000 series, so the 4090 is the big one. I think they mentioned like the 4080. I'm assuming we can expect a 4060 and a 4080 in that range if it follows the same pattern of the 3000 series, which was that only last year, which nobody can still nobody can get a 3080 card or a 3090 card. So Jamie, what did you think about this news?
Really angry on a personal level, because I'm sat here rocking this RX 570 fucking. This thing came out of the arc, and it still runs everything. I built a very good machine around it, and it still runs everything. Might crash now and again during particularly long Valorant sessions, but it is what it is. But yeah, it's awesome. The tech's advancing incredibly quickly, And it's I actually watched a little while ago now. I watched a YouTube video which had essentially a fold down diagram of how fast tech has advanced. You've got like between the wheel and now, but literally, the hundreds of years between the development of this, and then it just exponentially decreases as time goes past. And last year 3090, and it's impossible to track one down. I have tried, and I cannot afford the mortgage required to buy one. It's ludicrous prices.
Buy 4 Xboxes for the same price.
Genuinely, at this point, I mean, it's hard to recommend. It's weirdly hard to recommend PC gaming to people because of the price point to get into it. Certainly building your own, which is a brilliant thing. Like, building your own gaming PC is great fun. If you go into it completely blind with no knowledge of what you're doing, it's also very obviously risky. It's worth doing a bit of research first. But I'm an IT professional of several years, many years standing now, and a PC gamer for years. And I still, when it came to building this gaming rig, I was like, Alan, I haven't done this for a while, and there's new stuff. I'm going to need you to just give me a couple of refreshers here, mate, because I've put all the thermal paste in the fan. That's right. No? Okay. So, there's things you don't want to do. But build your machine. But I built this machine, but I had an existing rig, which I bought pre-built from a guy locally, just something to get me up and running because my laptop had melted. And I ripped the graphics card out of that and put it in this one. And it runs. But I wanted to upgrade, and it's been impossible. And the market, there was the chip shortage. There's the Bitcoin miners who have been snapping up everything. The price point has gone up and up and up and up. And I don't know. I feel like the response from Nvidia and all the any of the majors has just sort of been, well, we're making them, we're putting them out there. I don't really care who buys them. Your problem.
Yeah.
But here's the new one. You won't be able to afford that either. Enjoy. So I'm a little bit.
Yeah. It feels a bit misjudged with the current economy and everybody really like sharping quite a bit from bills that are just going up, energy rates that are going up, supply shortages of everything, which is skyrocketing the demand, and obviously like the scalping that's going on. And the 30 series is not old at all, and I'm all for technological advancement and pushing things, but this just seems like all of a sudden, like you're doing new range of ultra expensive, like £1,600 graphics cards now. And it's like, okay, well, let's see how it does, if anybody can actually afford one or buy one, or how well they're going to do. I mean, I'm all for aspirations and your tech and things like that, but damn. And it's one thing that really surprised me, actually, which I'm quite annoyed about on behalf of my fellow, not even fellow, on behalf of Jamie and other PC gamers, is so the new advancement in DLSS. It seems to be fantastic. And DLSS, for anybody who doesn't know, I'm going to try and butcher the explanation of it. It's an upscaling tech. It's an AI-based upscaling tech, which is fantastic from what I've seen from different articles and videos and things like that. So it will, if your computer cannot natively render 1440p or 4K, this DLSS will upscale it and does such a fantastic job of it, and you don't lose any of the performance kind of hits from rendering at a higher resolution and performance benchmarks. But so DLSS 3 was the new one, is locked and limited only to these new 40 series cards, and the improvements are astronomical. Like it's a massive jump over DLSS 2, and this really annoyed me because surely DLSS is for lower budget, lesser performing hardware, ones that need the support to get up to higher frame rates and higher resolutions. But if you've got a 40 series card, you don't fucking need DLSS 3 because you can render natively. What the hell? What the hell? Anyway, sorry, channeling Jamie there in my venom.
Getting ready for that. The ultimate screen cap for Twitter.
Anyway.
I mean, I wonder if this I mean, I don't know what the timescale is in terms of actually being able to get them, but is this going to mean there's going to be a bunch of 30 series secondhand 30 series it will be able to pick up, maybe.
I think they'll still sell for their original retail price because of the demand.
Come on.
There won't be a deal. I doubt.
The system is broken. I hate it.
Even
did Nvidia do like a trade-in on a 40 series for a 30 series? I doubt that as well.
No. The Nvidia are never going to do anything that doesn't let you take as much of your money as possible from you.
Boo.
Bastards.
We're never going to get sponsored by Nvidia. No, we're just fucking burning every bridge on this episode, guys.
Do you know what?
Damn.
They should sponsor us. Do you know why they should sponsor us? Because we'll tell it like it is, and we'll give people the real fucking advice. You want an Nvidia card? Of course you do. They're great, but you can't fucking have one because there's none out there. Because they're all sat in a warehouse somewhere in the middle of Guam, earning Bitcoin for some spotty little bastard who. But anyway, no.
Okay, whoa. Bring it out. Jeez.
No, I kid. But it is frustrating because it is impossible to get hold of. And then when the occasional secondhand ones do come on, like you can hop on eBay and get hold of one. But I mean, someone I know managed to pick up. Now this is tail end of last year. Picked one up on eBay for $2,000, which is a lot of money. I mean, that's I could rebuild half of this for that price. You know, 'cause that's the other thing. The other components are not. I'm not saying they're not expensive, but they're not overpriced. Like the money's worth is there. The value is there, even if they are high ticket items. But graphics cards, there's definitely not a false inflation, but there's an overinflation of the cost by circumstance, and they're just not coming up. I mean, I saw, you see the price of stuff, like a 1080 Ti is still ludicrously expensive. You go back 4 generations and you still can't get hold of anything for a reasonable price. Like it's ridiculous. I've got the shell of a PC with everything in it ready to go for my kids, and all I need to do is get hold of a decent graphics card to put in it so they've got a good little rig. And it's cost prohibitive at this point, like to try and put one together. And it's reaching the point where the PC itself is going to be outdated before I can get a graphics card to put in it. I'm going to have to build a new rig from the ground up. So it is very frustrating. And I do think the owners should slightly be on the company to sort of, at the very least, turn around and go, we know, guys, we're sorry. Look, we're churning them out and people are buying them and it's all gone to pot. We're very sorry about this. Yeah.
You would think that they would also be pursuing the goal of making the cards smaller and more efficient, not making them twice the friggin' thickness of the existing card, and drawing way more energy to heat your house. This is not a range cooker. This meant to heat your house. This is a PC.
Oh, that would be so much better use of advancing the technology, is to make it like take up less of your power usage. That would be incredible.
Yeah, smaller footprint and less power usage.
Absolutely. And that video that you sent us, it had like a moment where it was trying to show how much more powerful it was. They said, we can't actually that there's no a way of actually showing this at its full capacity, so this is just a recording, but we had to slow it down. And I was like, so why do we need this then? Like, I mean, I'm relatively ignorant in terms of like what it actually means in the kind of actual scale of things, but surely if you can't even show me a video of how much better it is, like you can show me some of it, but like you have to slow this footage down in order to be like, now it can show off. I'm like, cool. I don't want to play games that slow. And if then I speed it up to a normal speed, am I actually going to be able to tell the difference if my TV is just 4K ready and that's it?
Yeah.
What is the point?
There's kind of a double-edged sword with it. There's future proofing, which is great, as much as we release this tech and this should do you for the next 5 years. This thing will run everything that you can throw at it for any possible advancement we can see coming. We've got you covered with this. And yes, it may be the size of a small family car, but it is, and 95% of it, yes, is fans and cooling ports and liquid cooling, and we've put a fridge in it but this will cover you, which is great. It's good to future-proof. It's one of the first things you look at when you're building a rig. Is like, right, I'm going to make sure I'm at the right level so that it's going to run everything I want to run for the next 2 years, because otherwise, what's the point of me spending all this money? However, there's also for me, I think there's the double-edged sword to that is sometimes they're like, we're future-proofing you. This will run everything. It'll run stuff that people haven't even thought of. It'll run games that they can't make yet. And it's like, why?
Yeah.
Like, what are you actually future-proofing against if you're future-proofing for something that we don't have any basis for expecting it to exist for the next 5 years? And you're going to release another one in a year's time anyway and go, that one, crap, you want this one that you can't even lift with a normal human upper body. So here you go, enjoy.
I'm going to throw out a little kind of a curveball comparison here compared to Nvidia. I know Nvidia are just a graphics hardware manufacturer. They're not a computer manufacturer as such, but I want to reference Apple computers. And you guys know I am such a fanboy when it comes to Apple computers. So I make no apologies. I love their products. But when they shifted from Intel processors into doing their own processors, the M1 chips, the M2 chips, they not only made them much, much smaller, far more efficient, but far more powerful as well. And if you look at any of their keynote speeches, they have such a center stage approach to the impact on the environment for their manufacturing processes, how much energy this is going to use, and how much power is going to be pumping out and stuff like that as well. And of course, it gives you the benchmarks as well as to how much more efficient it is. And they always compare it to PCs. Now, I know PC gaming is a whole other can of worms, and gaming on a Mac is pretty much awful. I believe that is going to change because it's just not supported. It's very difficult to code for. But I believe that's going to change with the new M2 chips that like Resident Evil Village is going to be coming to Mac now, and a few other games I think are going to be moving over, which is hugely exciting for me as a Mac person. But they always say, yeah, look at your PC is crunching out like not even astronomically bigger benchmarks, but they are more impressive benchmarks for sure. But then you see the power wattage that is actually using to get those benchmarks compared to what a Mac is using on their new architecture. And you think, what are the PC developers doing? Like, what is the industry doing to combat? Yes, high performance is great, but you got to really think about how much energy this is using and what it's doing to the planet in order to get your 240 frames per second at 8K. And things like that. It's like it's a bit crazy that Nvidia are just saying, yeah, we don't care. We're just going to be pumping out 200 watts just for this graphics card, and it's the size of a bus. And you're going to have to buy a new PC case to fit the thing in to your PC. And it's just like, oh man, like the industry needs to kind of have a shake up to say, I'm not saying that Apple are like the beacon or anything like that, but what they're doing is really highlighting how much PC manufacturing needs to move on and get better at efficient manufacturing and performance without saying, yeah, here's an extra fan, here's another brick that is another inch thick onto your already 6-inch thick graphics card, and it's going to be pumping out another 50 watts of energy and power usage. And it's illuminating to look at the sector as a whole and say, oh, yeah, but what are other people doing to really improve their processes and still give you the performance that you expect, but make it way more efficient and smaller. And I don't know if any of you have seen the Mac Studio, which is their current high powered desktop machine. It's not it's not the big one. It's not the Mac Pro, which everybody's looking forward to, which is your traditional tower. It's like a cube. It's like a kind of squat rectangle, and the footprint on that is actually pretty tiny. Really, really quite small. It's like a big fat Mac Mini. Fat shaming the Mac Minis. I'm sorry, but considering how much power it's putting out and the footprint size, it's actually not putting out that much power, which is astronomical. And that kind of excites me to say, okay, like, well, how's the tech improving, not just in the performance space? We've got the performance. We don't need any more performance. What about this other stuff that we can improve upon? Anyway, that's my thoughts on it.
I think the deeper you dig into it, I mean, you could do a 2-hour show about it and never be done, because like the deep, even down to little things like with PC gaming, they have to equate for the fact that there are developers who do not optimize particularly well. When you develop for a console, they're developing for that. You're developing for that architecture, because that's the thing. A lot of people compare consoles to it as well. It's like, but if I buy my new Xbox, it's got say a 5 to 10 year lifespan for a console for that generation, and it'll play everything that comes out in that 5 to 10 years. Why do I need? On PC, even down to I can't remember the name of the game off the top of my head, but obviously big Phasmophobia player, and we went through a phase where we grabbed an awful lot of cheap Phasmophobia clones from Steam to try them, and some of them were really good fun. There was one we played, which it's not a particularly graphics heavy game, it's not a particularly resource heavy game. It was built by one guy in his basement, and me and Al both, and Al's rig is considerably more powerful than mine and considerably more up to date, because as we all know, Al owns stock in the planet and has more money than sense. So he has. I've got to give him a stick at least once a day, otherwise he'll be sad. But so his machine and mine were both like the core temps on our machines were just through the roof, and it started to creak, and it's because it was so poorly optimized. It was sapping every available resource out of the PC.
Yeah,
and so I think part of it, they're like, we're going to give you this because we know some of those games you play are going to need it because they're not going to have been made well. So you've got that aspect. You've got, just looking at the way the market works, what people want out of it, even down to aesthetics. Because the amount of people who'll buy shit just because it's RGB, I say, is everything around me glows. But it's, there's a lot of factors that go into it. But most of it, I think, is honestly just, it's the way they've always done things, and it's the way they keep doing things because they get away with it. Which is in a lot of industries, and it sucks. So, but yeah, they need to, it would be nice to see Nvidia coming out with hey, we're working on something other than just how powerful can we make this thing, and to hell with how much cooling we have to slap on it and how much space you need. And it would be nice to see them trying to advance across the board instead of just because it doesn't ever feel like, I don't feel like graphics cards have come on in that respect at all for years. Yeah. They've always been big with fans for as far back as I can remember. So yeah, it's a many faceted business, but all I know is they're far too damn expensive.
They absolutely are. Okay, so shall we move into the final topic of the show, and one of my biggest gaming sins, and that is the triumphant return of Monkey Island, a series I have never played. Monkey Island. I know, and I grew up on point and click games, but for some reason I never played the Monkey Island games, or even maybe potentially even worse, or Day of the Tentacle, which is classic LucasArts. I know. I've played Broken Sword, like Beneath the Steel Sky, games like that, but the Monkey Island games, for some reason, I don't know why, but I need to remedy this. But anyway, I'm going to let you, both of you, hold the floor here for Guybrush Threepwood and his return, and LeChuck.
Yeah, I can't forget about LeChuck. I'm so gutted. I still haven't played it yet. I haven't bought it yet. I need to buy it. But yeah, point and clicks were like my go-to when I was growing up, on PC specifically, when the console was being used by somebody else. It's just, I think what's so great about it is it just uniquely combines like adventure gaming, the whole point and click style, and it's so funny as well, but like clever funny as well as silly funny. And I just think the story is so good, like especially the first one is exceptionally good. And the way that it grew as a franchise as well. I love the newer style of animation that's being used, so I'm super excited to actually play the new one and to have the original voice actor still playing Guybrush. I'm like, yes, amazing. Yeah, I don't want to spoil anything for you, Ross, but you should absolutely play because who doesn't want to sword fight with insults? It's so good.
It's one of the best gameplay mechanics that's ever existed.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay, Jamie, how are you feeling about this return to nostalgia?
Yeah, I'm really excited. And again, I have my pile of shame. I don't live in a house anymore. I just live in a pile of games that I haven't played yet. But I'm definitely picking it up. What I want to do is go back and pick up all of them on Steam. So I've got them on. I've got the various various other formats across the years. I want to pick up all of them on Steam and just play through the entire series again. Same as I'm going to eventually do with Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, so I can get to 3.
Yes.
So there were 3 games that really shaped my early love of video games, which was Doom, which is what got me into FPS, and Civilization, which is what got me into RTS, and oddly enough, Loom, which was my first point-and-click game. And it absolutely just, I fell in love with it completely and then wanted to play everything. So when there was this pirate game, and I had my Amiga by this point, there's this pirate game you can try. It's on about 32 discs, have fun. And so I sat down and I just fell in love with it completely. It is, as Sarah said, it is clever, funny. There's silly bits as well, which is like a good belly laugh, but it is very clever. It's very... it's all based around the inspiration for it. Guybrush said came from the Pirates of the Caribbean ride and the book on Stranger Tides. And he said the book sort of shaped the story notions, and the ambience of the game was based around the ride. And you do see that in the game. It very much influences it as it goes through the series. And again, I don't want to give anything away for Ross, so but it's very clever. It's very self-aware. There's it breaks the fourth wall. It's Murray, the demonic talking skull, is one of the best characters that's ever existed in a game, and has possibly my favourite quote in all of game history, which is I will stride through the gates of hell with your head on a spike. Stride, roll then. I will roll through the gates of hell. Must you ruin everything? It's so good, and it's there's little things. It also includes there's a great reference to Loom in Secret Monkey Island. At the end, it's a seagull provided by Loom, because the seagull in Loom was a key figure, and it's just lots of little reference jokes, lots of very clever, some brilliant puzzles. The art style was always pretty, and it's stayed pretty, and the new art style is gorgeous. It very much reminds me of The Cave, which is another fantastic game, and another Ron Gilbert game. So it's very much got that sort of feel to it, but it still feels again, I haven't played it. I've been watching bits to hype myself up for it, and and try and convince me that this is the game I'm going to play next instead of going back and playing more Valorant or something stupid. But it still feels like Monkey Island. Like the colours, the music's the same, and the music's glorious. Yeah, but it's got the same sort of aesthetic to it, even though the actual art style has changed drastically. It's a wonderful series of games. Point and clicks in general are a fantastic genre. They're just so much fun. But the Monkey Island games in particular are just they're Pratchett-esque, I think, is one of the best things I can say about them. They've got that very clever humour, that very holds a mirror up to something that like Pirates, and then tilts the mirror and gives you something slightly odd and very funny and very skewed. And it's just... You've got to play them. You've got to play the Monkey Island games.
Yeah, you should.
I really should, and I really am going to. But I think before any of that, what I really want is Sara and Jamie to do a special episode, which is just a radio play of the Monkey Island games, and they're just doing the quotes and acting it out. That's what I think. That's what I really want more than anything.
Yep, I'm down for that. That could be a special episode that we just release.
Oh my goodness! But guys, there was so much other things that we could have talked about this week. It was an absolute banger week of news. But we're going to save a couple for next week's show. More notably, the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the video game, which is of course Grounded, got its 1.0 official release on Game Pass. So I've dived into a little bit of that. I want to play a little bit more before I talk about it, so we'll maybe save that for next week's show. I also picked up the game that Sara is a voice actress in, Rollerdrome, which was on sale this week. I think it's down to £16-ish on PS5, down from 25 bucks. So I had to snap it up. So I'm looking forward to checking that out and doing some sick kick flips, dude. To reload my guns akimbo and that kind of stuff. I'm really excited to look forward to that. And I've got some other little Game Pass games and game preview games that I want to talk about as well. So we'll save that for next week's show. But anyway, that's a wrap on episode 79 of the Weekend Catch-Up Club podcast. A huge thank you to our listeners and our viewers, and those of you who have been dropping little reviews for us. It's been fantastic. We've actually been climbing the charts on our little top 100 indie charts, indie technology charts, and those kind of things. We're really climbing the ranks, which is freaking awesome to see. So who knows, maybe sponsorship is around the corner, who knows. But anyway, massive thank you everybody. We will be back next week. Until then, happy gaming. Bye-bye.
Bye.